Okay, let's get started. Hello, I'm Theresa Ferguson. I'm the Executive Director of AustinUP. Welcome, I'm glad you're here. AustinUP is a nonprofit formed in 2014 as a result of the Mayor's Task Force on Aging. And what we do is we work on issues related to the future of aging in Austin. And employment for older adults is one of those issues. So today's presentation, job prospecting and problem solving. And our speaker is Gary O'Neill. And I'm so excited about this. And Gary, take it away and introduce yourself.
Great. Hi, Theresa. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Gary O'Neill. And just to give you a little bit of my background so you kind of know the perspective that I'm coming from, I started my career as a hiring manager right off the bat. I've been involved in recruiting and hiring specifically since about 2000. Prior to that, I was a hiring manager. I helped build companies. I was an entrepreneur. We started a startup company that grew from startup to about 2,000 employees. So I was responsible for a lot of things, and hiring was one of them. So the perspective that I come from is that I've been running recruiting departments, recruiting teams, mostly as a consultant and running recruitment and employment consulting companies since 2000. So I've been inside of companies all the way from some of the largest Fortune 50 companies down to little teeny tiny startups, probably at least 350 different companies as a consultant and running recruiting teams and recruiters and such. So I've been first or second person to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15,000 hires now. I make my living because people get hired, and I act as a recruiter actively every single day and kind of have for about the last 20 years. So I see a lot, and I'm here to kind of share with you. If it were me and I was really out there trying to land my next great job, this is kind of the core of how I would go about it. And it's all about how am I going to find those opportunities, connect with people, and solve this problem called, hey, I'm going to go find myself an awesome job. So that's what we're here to do. So does that sound cool? We all good? All right. Thanks so much for being here. By the way, I shared in the chat section down there. Can they all see that link that I gave them, Theresa? Do you know? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see it. Can everyone else see it?
If you wouldn't mind reposting that. So what I've got is, if you can see my screen, right, it says HireFactors at the top. That's my company. Job prospecting and problem solving. I sent a link so that hopefully all of you can see and get to that document.
I just reposted it.
Okay, cool. All right. And the reason why is that instead of giving kind of a slideshow and just a demo, I thought I'd give you something that might be a useful tool afterwards. So check out that link, see if you can grab it, but let's just dive right into this. So what I wanted to do was kind of give you some insight. And most people, I think, when they're going about a job search, go about it by looking on job boards like Indeed and Google, Indeed. And did you know Google has a really great job board, by the way? But going and looking for jobs that are posted and responding to those. I've been doing what I do for so long, I probably wouldn't go to the job boards at all. But even if you do, let me share with you some real detailed information about what you can do to kind of change the game with regard to your job search. So right here at the top, let's start with this concept that the need existed long before the job was ever posted. And you do know that most jobs are never posted, right? Most hires don't happen as a result of somebody responding to a job post. So the majority of opportunities that are out there for you, you'll never find that way anyway. And here's the deal. Hiring only happens when there's a problem to solve. You probably already know that, but let's just think about that for just a second. There's really only four things that I can think of. One is that a person quits. In fact, I got a call from one of the senior HR leaders at one of my clients just this morning. Somebody quit, a principal software engineer. They're devastated. But the truth is, let me just go on with that for a moment. Somebody quits, somebody gets terminated, or there's more work than there are people to do, which means they need your time. They need more people to do the same things that they're already doing. Or there's no one to figure out how to do the work, which means they need to hire somebody for their knowledge. So you do realize every single time you get hired, it's some combination of we need your time and we need your knowledge. If we've got everything figured out and we just need you to do more of it, and we could train you to do it. I really just need your time. And if I really need you to be a decision maker, I really need you to figure out new things and change process and do that kind of quality work. I also need your expertise. So it's always one of those four things, right? And the only reason why I really bring that up is that this second bullet point, which is people know months in advance when they're going to need to make a hire. The one this morning that I was talking about, the individual who left, um, I knew, and in fact, I brought up about 3 months ago that we needed to put a retention bonus in place so this individual is going to leave. The hiring manager knew, everybody else on the team knew. And most of the time, when I talk to hiring managers and there is a job that they're getting my team's help to fill, I mean, simple version is I run recruiting teams. And so when an opportunity comes to us, when a need is there, I almost always ask the hiring manager, how long you know? And they're like, well, she just quit. And I'm kind of going, yeah, but how long did you know she was quitting? On the average, it doesn't matter whether somebody's quit, whether they terminated someone, whether or not they need to add staff just because they're growing, or whether or not they need some new capability. Generally, the hiring manager has known for 3, maybe 4 months that this was going to need to happen. And generally, the people on the team knew before that was ever going to happen. So the thing is that everyone is so busy and hiring is so risky and such a pain that people don't start until the job is already open or the job is posted. They don't start till their hair is already on fire. As the person who runs recruiting teams, I'm usually saddled with the responsibility of pulling a rabbit out of my hat and trying to make things happen quickly, which, by the way, when you're a hiring manager, just don't do that. Hiring in a hurry is a way to hire average. But the truth is, most companies end up in a hurry. Now, but really what I want you to think about, though, is that I guarantee you the majority of hires that are happening right now, people knew about 2 or 3 or 4 months in advance. And there are a lot of people right now that know that they're going to need to make a hire. But the thing about it is like this bullet point says right here, if you're looking at my slide that I've shared or document that I've shared, months in advance, there's no job that's open. Months in advance, there's no line. Months in advance, there's no competition. Months and a half, there's time for somebody to hire someone who has a little bit of a learning curve. Months in advance, before the job is ever posted or what have you, they can hire a person rather than just fill a job. Because what normally happens is that the need existed for a long time. They've known that the need was coming. Everybody waited too long. And then now the job is open and everybody's in a hurry and it becomes urgent. So the thing is, down here in this bullet point, if you're looking at my slide, it says hurry. By the time a job is posted, people are in a hurry. And not only are they in a hurry, they no longer have time for somebody with any learning curve. There's lots of competitors. I mean, my team rarely posts jobs because I don't like to deal with the onslaught of what happens. But last job that I saw posted, 375 people applied for this job, right? So there's lots of competition. There's no time to consider them all. In fact, very recently, I was working with a hiring manager. My team had narrowed the set down to, well, it was a pretty big set. I mean, by the time we had presented a bunch of people to the hiring manager, there were at least 10 great people for this hiring manager to talk to. I wanted him to talk to them all, but he only wanted to talk to 3 people. And so my point is that people are busy. There's never time to hire, never time to consider everyone. And by the time a job is posted and it's open, there's a lot of hurdles that are between you and the hiring manager. And so what I'm trying to tell, and I'm not sure if the point is coming across, is that by the time a job is open, what's happening is there's often, when you apply on Indeed or when you apply, whether you come in, it comes in all kind of different paths. It goes into different people's email. There's an applicant tracking system usually in place that's going to compare the words in your resume to the words that are in the job description. Most people are going to get eliminated right at that point. Very often there's some kind of a junior recruiter who's in play who wouldn't really understand how to take advantage of your background and your expertise. And there are a lot of people between you and the hiring manager when you respond to a job post. My point, and let me just show you a little bit about what happens, right? So if you're looking again at the document that I shared, this is from the, yeah,
There,
hi, yeah.
one suggestion, could you make the view instead of 100%, increase the view? The type is very small when it's Broadcast.
Please. Yeah. Let's see. How do I do that?
Up at the top, I think 100% should you.
Yeah, there it is. 100%, 200%. How about that?
Hey, that would be great.
Yay. All right. Awesome. So let me slow down for just a second and kind of back up a little bit and make sure that we're clear where we're at. I started with this whole idea that most people's primary job search mechanism is go search for a job that's online. And I'm starting with this notion that says, as a recruiter and somebody who's been doing this a lot, I probably wouldn't start there. And here's the reasons why. The main reason why is that hiring managers and the teams that they work with and the teams that my teams hire for, they've known for weeks and months in advance that someone was going to need to be hired, but no one was bothering to work on it. By the time the job gets open and HR gets involved and a recruiter gets involved and the applicant tracking system gets involved and there's jobs posted everywhere, there's this whole set of gauntlets that are between you and the hiring manager. And there's this whole set of, and there's going to be lots of competition and people applying for the job. And so the whole, and I wanted to show you here on the Indeed job post process, right? This is insane. So if you're posting a job from the employer side on Indeed, as an example, one of the questions is, how urgently, check out that word, like unbelievable, how urgently do you need to make a hire? And look at the choices. 1 to 3 days. Are you kidding me? I mean, that never happens, right? I don't know. Maybe it does for if you're hiring somebody as a cashier or something. I don't know. 3 to 7 days, 1 to 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, more than 4 weeks. Well, of course, almost every professional job is more than 4 weeks. But the point is that this is where companies and hiring managers end up with, and they end up in an urgent situation, right? By the time a job is posted. So let's talk a little bit about what happens before the job is posted. And I'm setting this up so that you kind of understand the motivation for why I'm going to show you how I would go about prospecting for a job. It's pretty different than going to the job boards, but I want you to kind of get the flavor for here's the reason why. So let's talk about the odds and really what's going on behind the scenes. So if you believe me that people are aware of their need to hire 3 to 4 months in advance, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's somebody quitting, like in this case, the hiring manager knew 3 or 4 months ago. We were talking about it, but they've done nothing about it. I got the message this morning and it's urgent now, right? Um, if they're terminating somebody, they knew. If they need to grow, they knew. If they need to hire knowledge, they knew. So hiring managers generally know well in advance. That means the team knows well in advance. But most of the time that they're aware, there's no job open and there's no job posted. And even between the time they get approval to hire from, say, the CFO until the recruiting team or HR or somebody actually posts the job, there's weeks in that period of time. So, and then most jobs are never posted. So here's the thing. Let's take a look at what the realistic opportunity is by connecting with people. So, the idea is that if we know how many people do the kind of work that you do, let's just say product manager, right? Let's just pick that. That'll be the example we'll use. Now the question is, how many people in your area are product manager? And then how often do they change jobs on average? Because we know how many people there are, and we know how often they change jobs on average, we can now calculate the number of hires per month that are typically happening in that space, right? Now, if we know the number of months that the manager and the team was aware, we can look at this total window of how many hiring managers out of a set are probably actively considering hiring somebody within the next couple of months. So I'm going to take you into a little bit of math. If you're not strong on math, you don't have to necessarily have to follow all of this, but for those of you who are, you might find this interesting exercise. So let's just assume that there are 500 people who do what you do. That's not a whole lot. If you're a product manager, there are about 4,500, 5,000 product managers in Austin, Texas, by the way. But let's just say that there are about 500 people in your area that do what it is that you do. And let's just assume that you look at their backgrounds on LinkedIn and you find that on average, they're changing jobs about every 3 years, which isn't unusual at all these days. So that's once every 36 months. And then I shared with you that the hiring managers generally know 3 to 4 months in advance. So we're going to assume 4 just for the sake of argument. So if I look at the number of hires per month out of 500 people who are changing jobs every 36 months, 14 hires per month are happening, right? 14 hires per month are happening if there's 500 people who do what you do. How many aware hiring managers are there? In other words, how many hiring managers know that they're going to need to make a hire? Well, we take that 14 hires per month times the 4 months that they knew. There are over 50 hiring managers. If there are a group of 500 people who do this work, there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 hiring managers who right now will be aware of the fact that they're likely to be needing to make a hire in the next 3 or 4 months. But for a tiny fraction of them is the job posted. Of those 14 hires per month that are happening, most jobs are up for maybe a month. The majority of those are not going to be posted. So out of those 14 hires per month, maybe 8 of those will be posted, maybe, where the realistic opportunity for you is about 56 people who actually know that a hire is going to happen. So does this make sense? Questions, comments? What do you think? Are you following? Are you tracking with me? Well, good. What do you think, Theresa?
People are saying yes, and in the description for this presentation, when you said you can search for jobs or do prospecting even before people know the job is open, I wondered about that. What does he mean by that? So now
Right.
I understand.
Yeah, and this is the root motivation behind doing what I'm about to show you what to do, which is the majority of opportunities to get hired and the majority of hiring managers you connect with, well, you'll never find through a job post. And when you do find the job post, it's only a fraction of the jobs. And when you do, the applicant tracking system, the recruiters, the people like me, the people on the team are all in your way because no one gets hired unless they talk to the hiring manager. So if you also wanted to check out this, think about this. Peers on the team also know that a hire is going to be happening, right? The people on the team for the person who quit this morning, they all knew she was going to quit too. They all knew, everybody knew, but yet nobody was bothering to look. Had someone reached out to some of those peers, had someone reached out to the hiring manager, I guarantee you the hiring manager would have paid attention, but no one did, right? No one reached out to me either, and I'm awfully easy to get a hold of. So just know that most professionals never bother to take responsibility for their search. They never reach out to anybody. So when you talk about how many people do these hiring managers have reach out to them with regard to potentially joining their team, the answer is 0. So you're going to be the only one. So, if you look at the number of people on the teams, they might get a referral bonus. And then the number of peers is the number. Anyway, we can go into all kind of math, but let me just show you what to do. Would that be all right? I'm going to show you kind of how to connect with these people and why to connect with them. And right up here at the top, it starts with this notion, which is people hire people. Companies don't hire anyone. In fact, I'm the weird guy who's in that camp that says companies don't exist. They're make-believe, right? There's no such thing as Dell. Dell is a conceptual idea that the government recognizes as a business entity that can have employees and can pay taxes, right? That's what Dell is. But Dell hires no one, people do. And what I see is that at job clubs and all kinds of career advisors and the rest, telling people you can research companies and check out Glassdoor, which by the way, do yourself a favor, don't pay much attention to Glassdoor. It's kind of a mess. From behind the scenes, I can tell you the information that's there is really questionable. So take it with as big a grain of salt as you can possibly imagine. Like take kosher salt and make it 10 times bigger. At least that's what you need to do with Glassdoor, by the way. So stop researching companies and stop spending your time on that, because you can research a bunch of companies and never have a conversation with someone. It was just a total waste of your time. It's all about connecting with people instead. So let me show you how to do that. So if it were me and I was running a job search, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go find all the people who do what I do. I'm going to go find them, because all the people who do what I do are working at companies that must have the kinds of problems that I solve, because they've got people who are already doing it. And then the question is, well, how do I know if they're hiring? And the answer is you don't. But what I can tell you is that if the turnover in that particular field is, say, on average once every 3 years, then 10 to 15% of all the hiring managers are aware that they need to hire somebody right now. Just do the math, 10 to 15. If the job turnover is faster than that, it's 20%. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me show you how to find people who do what you do. Step number 1 is we want to run an advanced people search in LinkedIn. And what I did was, instead of just showing you this live, this is you guys are kind of guinea pigs for me a little bit. So what I did was I recorded myself doing some of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this and see whether or not it works for us right now instead of doing a live demo. And the notion was that if you can get access to this document, then instead of just seeing it here, you can actually see just this part again. So I'm going to open this up and show you. Here we go. Can you see that at all, Theresa? So the way to find people, can you see that at all, or is it too small?
It's a little small, but we can see it.
Let me see if I can make it any bigger. Loop, open video in a new tab. I think I can do that. There we go. Now it'll be big enough. So the way to find people is you go up to this top bar in LinkedIn, you click. Can you hear the audio?
Yes.
Okay, cool. There, and then you want me to go back. There we go. I'll shut up and I'll let it play. So the way to find people is you go up to this top bar in LinkedIn, you click there, and then you want to click the little magnifying glass. That will take you to this screen where you click people. It's an advanced search. And once the people search comes up, then click all filters. And in general, what you want to do is you're going to be searching for locations. So as an example, Austin, Texas metropolitan area. And then you'll go search for people who do the same job that you do, or the kind of job that would make sense for you. So in this case, I'm going to say product manager. And then what I can do is I can go over here and click apply, and this is going to show me all of the people in my network who have their location listed as the Austin metropolitan area and whose title includes the word product manager. So here we go. Let's see what we got. We got about 1,400 people. So the good news for you is if you're a product manager, there's plenty of opportunities in Austin, Texas for product manager. So that's the way you search for people. All right. So there's that. So you can hopefully look at that later and refer back to that. So the idea, and I hope this is clear, is that if I was going about running a job search, the very first thing that I'm going to go do is find a bunch of people who do what it is that I do. Now, the truth is, if this item here, 1B, if there aren't enough people who do what I do, I'm going to consider a transition. Now, if I'm a product manager and there on my first search, I see there are 4,100 product managers in Austin, that's a lot. That's plenty. And so you got to figure that, I mean, if we did the math on that, right, real quick, which is there are 4,100 of them, I guarantee you that turnover in product managers here in this town is about once every 36 months. So I'm going to take 4,100 and divide that by 36. That means with respect to product managers, there's about 114 hires per month happening, right? Might be a little bit lower right now, but not a whole lot lower than that. So that's plenty of opportunity. If when I went and searched for the profiles and the types of people who do what I do, and there were only 3 of them, wow, I better be really good at what it is that I do. So in some sense, if you're kind of trying to figure out what you want to do and you're not clear what your next role is, begin searching for different people who do the kinds of things that you could do, and then go find the ones where there are a lot of people doing it, because it's a numbers game, right? If there are more people who solve those kinds of problems, there's more job opportunities, period, stop, right? So now what I'm going to do is this item number 2 is if needed, because in that case, 4,100 people, I don't need to reach out to 4,100 people. I can't, right? So I'm going to go ahead and narrow it down. There are 2 key ways to narrow down your search. One is by industry and one is by keyword. So let me show you this one first. And we're going to look at how to narrow my search down by industry. So I'm going to go ahead and where did I do that a while ago? I want to open that in a new window. Where did I see that? Copy the link. Open that in a new window. See if I remember where I saw that a while ago. Y'all all saw me do it. So because we'll be reaching out and connecting with these people, you might want to narrow the set down just a little bit from 1,400 down to the set of people who, are a little bit closer to the type of work that you want to do. So one way to do that is to narrow by industry. I'll go back here to all filters. and then scroll down just a little bit, and right here by industry. So I'm going to go ahead and pick computer software. Now, this is a list that LinkedIn provides to you when you create your account, and that's what's used to search here. So people don't always check the same thing, right? But we're going to check on their profile. But we're going to check computer software and see what happens. And that narrows our search set down to 832. All right, so that's the idea of what you can do to narrow the search set down. So I got it down to 832 people whose LinkedIn profile says that they are in Austin, Texas, who have the words product manager in their profile and have listed their industry as computer software. So that's one way to narrow this set down, because what we're going to do with all of this is we're going to reach out to these people. These people are peers and they're hiring managers. So one step at a time, right? We're going to reach out to them. Let me show you real quick how we can narrow this down by keyword. And by the way, the reason why I know all this stuff is because this is exactly what I do as a recruiter. I mean, essentially, as a recruiter, what I do is I go find people who really might benefit from the type of role that my client is hiring for. And if I was looking for a job, I'm going to go find people, and I'm going to go find the people who might need my help, right? So it's exactly the same thing, just in reverse. The reason why I don't post jobs as a recruiter is because the people who my clients really want to hire and the people who they're typically not looking for a job. Most of the people who apply for the job aren't remotely qualified. It's an absolute abject waste of everybody's time. And so as a recruiter, my team goes straight to sourcing for and finding and reaching out to the people who might need that. So as a recruiter, this is exactly how I would go about, this is how I'd go about finding a job. So let me show you how to, we're going to do this one, which is narrowing it down by keyword. Right here up at the top. And so let's say I want to work for a software as a services company as a product manager. That's clearly in the computer software space, but this is just a different way to do it. So I can say SaaS, which is looking for people who, it's the same search I had before. They're in Austin, Texas, or at least their profile says that their location is in the Austin metro area, that their title is product manager. And here I want SaaS, software as a service, to appear somewhere in their profile. So I just press enter and we'll run that search. And I got 981. So here's Eric, SaaS product manager. Here's another product manager at Mission Box. Holly appears here again, product manager at Intap. So all of these people have product manager in their title. Their location is listed as Austin metropolitan area, and they have SaaS somewhere in their profile. Cool. So what do you think? Does this make sense? All right. So let's keep going. So now here's what we're going to do. Now that we found product managers, or if that's not what you do, go find the people who do what you do, right? And this is going to include hiring managers. It's going to include peers. It's including lots of different people. I narrowed it down only because I can't possibly reach out to 4,100 people in a reasonable amount of time. So I want a set of 150, 200, 250, 300. And once I get to a set of 800 or 900, that's cool too, because over a few days, I can end up connecting with them all. So item number 3 is connect, connect, connect. Send each and every single one of these people a connection request. So super easy, but I want to show you this just to give you a couple of clues on how to go about this quickly, right? It's about getting it done quickly. So now I want to connect with all of these people. So over here in this window, I created an empty document that just has the message I want to send. Hi, it's always good to be connected with product managers in Austin, Texas. Let's connect, Gary. So I'm going to press Control A to select all of that, Control C to copy it, and then I'll go here to connect. I'll add a note and I will paste it and I'm going to send it. Now you can send people's first name if you like. So Ryan, I'll hit connect, add a note. Hi, Ryan. Takes a little bit longer, but you might get a little bit higher response for it. Hi, Ryan. Select done and send that. I got Brandon. Connect with Brandon. Paste. I'm just going to send that. And then I'm going to connect one more with Ritvik over to Ritvik. And I'm going to add Ritvik's number. you can probably be either, usually what I'm doing is either add everybody's name or I don't, depending upon how busy I am. And then I click done. You also have the option on some of these to just hit connect and you can just say done. It doesn't send a message at all. Connection rate will be a little bit higher if you send a note, if you got time to do it. Now, the other thing while I'm going through here, though, is I want to keep a list of target companies. So I've already got a handful in there, but you'll notice Natasha works at VRBO. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that into my product. So also she was a product MBA intern at Spreadfast. So I'm going to go ahead and vow Spreadfast because Spreadfast does things with product managers. I got Kyan at Kai Nexus, so I'm going to copy that and put it into my spreadsheet. And then where else was she? Digital team at Banjo, right? Digital team operations, maybe. I don't know if if she was a product manager over there or not. I got Brandon, who's at Cover Wallet, so I'm gonna do that, and I'll show you later what we're gonna do with all of this. So I can go through and I can grab information. Here's Volusion about target companies, because what I'm also doing is I'm keeping a list of companies who hire product managers as I'm going through here and connecting with them. All right, so check this out. There are 9 companies in this list that I'm pointing at right now, from Satva all the way down to Volusion. I'd be willing to bet you at least one of those has a hiring manager who is aware of the fact that sometime within the next 3 or 4 months, they're going to have to hire a product manager under their team. I bet you, right? If we added a couple more, it would be for sure, right? It would be for sure that they're adding them to their team. So what do you think? Does this make sense? Is this helpful? All right. All right. So if you're really good at this, let me know. If you want to be a recruiter, this is this is how you make this stuff happen, right? It's about covering a lot of ground. It's not about researching companies. It's not even about researching people. You'll notice that I didn't open anyone's profile. I don't care. I mean, as a human being, I care a lot about all these people. In fact, I'm very much a people person. But with regard to doing this kind of work, I don't need to open their profile. I don't need to know about that company. All I know is that the only thing I need to know is, can I get response? Can I get response? Because if a person doesn't respond to me and if they don't accept my connection request, if I can't send them a message, if we can't begin a dialogue, then all the other time that I spent looking at their profile or researching a company, it was absolutely wasted. And so what we do as recruiters is it's a matter of narrowing the set down to people who that there's some probability that they're going to benefit from the type of role that my client is hiring for. I narrow it down. I send connection requests to them. Those people who are responsive, now once somebody has responded, I haven't sent them a message yet, I'll show you that in a second. Once somebody's responded with interest, now I bother to go take a look to see whether or not we really need to spend time having a conversation, right? And because otherwise every single bit of your time is wasted. So that's how you go about doing a connect. I didn't have time to record videos, so you can tell me, this will be fun, you can tell me afterwards whether the recorded versions of these things were better or whether the live versions were. But let me show you what to do next, which is, now that I have that list, I went through, and in any given day, you can send 200 to 300 connection requests before LinkedIn starts requiring you to know people's email address. And once you get to that point, pat yourself on the back and say, I did it, right? It takes me about 30 minutes to do that, 45 minutes. If you get it done in an hour and a half or so, then that's probably all it should really take you. And you can connect or send connection requests to 200 or 300 people like today, right? And again, tomorrow, and then the day after. So that narrowed down set of about 1,000 people, I could send connection requests to that entire 1,000 people in an hour a day for 4 days, and I got it all done. So I would be connected to an enormous number of people who are in that space. And along the way, what I did was I captured information about the companies where they work. So what I'm going to do with that list of companies where they work, and let me open that up real quick. Yes.
Here,
Hi, Theresa.
good question. So did you say that LinkedIn limits your ability to connect? What was that?
Yeah. Once you send out about, I've never counted it, 200, 250 connection requests in a single day, it'll start asking you for people's email address, and you don't have their email address usually. And so at that point, or sometimes it'll send you a message that says, don't connect with so many people. Make sure you're only connecting with the people that you know. The only reason why they say that is because the way that they make money is they charge people like me $1,000 a month to have an account so I can connect with people that aren't in my network. So yeah, so it'll limit you to 200, 250 or so. When it gets tired of letting you connect with people, it'll give you some variation of the theme of insisting that you know people's email address, or telling you to, you can't connect with any more people. Just come back tomorrow, right? Just come back tomorrow. I do that every single day. Like I hit my limit most days. So what I did a while ago was I created this list of target companies. It's just this little spreadsheet. So I've got that. And so, Cloudflare, Indeed, or what have you. So we're just going to pick one of these, and I'm going to pick Cloudflare kind of at random. And so if it were me, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find the recruiters and the hiring managers at these companies. So let me close a few, pardon me, let me close a few tabs so that I can move a little bit faster. All right, so now I'm in LinkedIn. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this search. I click this little thing so I can get to an advanced search. When I get to the advanced search, I click people because I want to search for people always, right? Always search for people, connect with people, research people, go find people who need your help. Those are the people who are going to hire you, and go find them before they've ever posted a job, because there's no line at that point, right? So many more hiring managers know they need to hire than ones who are actively hiring right this second with the help of HR and the rest. I mean, they know. And what'll happen is most of them are battling for budget. And if they find somebody they really want to hire, it's a lot easier to go to the CFO and say, hey, I really want to hire this person, as opposed to I want a blank check to go hire someone. So what I'm going to do is I went to people, I'm going to go to all these people filters. And so the company that I was looking for a while ago that I mentioned was Cloudflare. So I'm going to put in Cloudflare, and there they are. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to this title field, and I'm going to search for a recruiter. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Recruiter, and click apply. Ding, 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 ding. I got 9 of them. So now what I'm going to do is I would click this button and I'd add a note. I'm not going to bore you with it all, but essentially what I'd say is, hi, Madison. It's always good to be connected with recruiters in Austin, Texas. Let's connect, Gary. And then I'm going to go do that with Catherine Roshini. I'm going to do that with Gregory. I'm going to do that with Billy. I'm going to do that with Anna Wolf. In fact, while we're going through here, I'm just going to connect with them. May as well, right? Let's just connect with all these people. I'm just not sending them a message. They'll probably connect. Recruiters generally always connect. We want our networks to be big, as big as we can possibly get. All right, so I'm going to go connect with all of those recruiters. Now, the other thing that I'm going to go do, though, is I am going to go back to my filters, and I'm going to go look for a hiring manager. And see when I'm going to look for a hiring manager, I'm going to say I'm a product manager, so I'm going to search for VP product. See if I can see if that happens. Nope. I'm going to broaden my search a little bit. And then what I'm doing is I'm searching Cloudflare. And I'm going to go search. I'm going to go really wide now, and I'm going to search for just product in their title field and click apply. And I haven't done this before, right? So I'm running a risk. This is live, right? And not even canned. Director of product at Cloudflare. You think director of product is a likely hiring manager for product managers? I think so, right? Unless there's a VP. So it's probably Sam, product manager, product manager, product manager, product manager, director of product at Cloudflare. There's another one. So here's another hiring manager, Ali, right? Here's another one, Rustown, right? And if I keep looking, right, there's a bunch of them who have the word product. I might find a vice president. And the thing is, I will connect with them all, right? I'll connect with them all because I want their contact information. I want their connections. And then what happens is, so I'm going to go ahead and connect with these people. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find recruiters, and I'm going to go find hiring managers, and I'm going to send connection requests, right? Does this make sense? Are we good? All right. So let me pause for just a second and make sure that we're all clear on what we're doing and why we're doing it. The majority of hires are done with no job post. The majority of jobs are never posted. The majority of hiring managers and teams know 3 to 4 months in advance that they're going to need to make a hire. During that period of time, they're not working on it. And here's what I can tell you, which is the hiring manager. So I had the vice president of HR called me this morning for one of my best clients. Someone just turned in their notice today. Me and the head of HR, as well as the hiring manager, had talked about it 3 or 4 months ago, that we probably ought to put some kind of retention bonus. We probably ought to get that comp plan. We went over the list of people who are at risk. This person was on the known list of at risk, but yet we've done nothing about any of them. It's now urgent, right? And so what would have happened though, had someone reached out to me, or had someone reached out to the hiring manager, or had someone reached out to one of the other members on that team a couple of months ago, I know they would have had conversations with them, because we knew the likelihood with this person was going to turn in their notice. We knew, but yet no one reached out to them. So the way that as a recruiter that I work things is I go connect with human beings, and I have conversations to see if I can't make a difference in that person's life by helping them move their career forward. And if I was doing a job search, I would do the same thing by going and finding and connecting with human beings who I might be able to help. And I help the hiring manager be more successful. I help my peers be more successful. I help that company solve the kinds of problems that I solve. So I'm going to go connect with people who do the kind of work that I do. And then I'm going to make a list of the places where they work. And then I'm going to go find the hiring managers and the recruiters of those companies and make sure that I'm connected with them, right? So that's what I would do. And in a matter of a couple of days, and certainly inside of a week, I could send connection requests out to 1,500 people, right? And the majority of them, maybe not the majority, but 30 to 40% are going to accept my connection request, at which point I have their contact information, and I'm going to start communicating with them, knowing that 10 to 20% of all of those people know that their team needs to make a hire right now. And those who are close to needing to make a hire will self-select in by reaching out and having a conversation with you prior to a job that's ever being open. Or if there is a job open, they'll still reach out and connect with you. In fact, when you see a job that's open somewhere, one, apply directly on their website, not through Indeed and not through these other things. We don't have time to go into that right now. But if you see a job on Indeed that's for Cloudflare, go to Cloudflare site and apply there. Don't apply through Indeed. Yeah, don't apply through your chances of getting through are a lot lower or a lot higher if you go direct, but your chances are even higher when you go and connect with the peers, and you go to connect directly with the hiring manager, and you go connect directly with the recruiters inside of those companies and begin to have a conversation with them. All right. So what I want to do is, once I've searched for these recruiters and the rest, then I'm going to send follow-up messages to the people who have connected. And usually I'm going to do that through email, because many people filter their LinkedIn messages into their spam, right? LinkedIn will send people an email message when they have a new email message in LinkedIn. But a lot of people, if they're not recruiters and the rest, they just filter all that stuff into spam and they never see it. So your response rate will be a whole lot higher if you actually go and send people email messages or connect with them some other way. So let me show you how to do that. Inside of LinkedIn, if I click on my network, right, you see that up at the top, my network, and I'll make this a little bit bigger too, so you can see this a little bit bigger. My network is running a little slow. All right. It's running a little slow, but what I'm going to do here is, up here at the top, when I click my network under invitations, I can click this. I can say see all three. And it's going to not just show me all three. Let me show you what it does when I click here. Come on. So slow. All right. So here's what, these are all of the messages that the LinkedIn connection requests that I've received. None of you have sent me one, by the way. Somebody ought to send me one. But I can also see all of the ones that I've sent, right? And these are all the ones that I've sent that haven't been accepted yet. So I can see that Sam hasn't accepted it yet. Keith hasn't accepted it yet. And what I can do is I go through here, and any one of them that haven't been accepted within about the last month or so, then I'll withdraw them and resend them. If I want to talk to those people, I'll withdraw it and I'll resend that. So that's one way to see who all you've sent messages to. So you don't have to track them all. You know, if you're one of these people who likes to track everything and the rest, it's tracked right here for you. But probably more importantly is I can go to my network, and I can go right here to my connections if it'll come up. So I've got 17,136 people in my first level network in LinkedIn, but come on. When we have video stuff going, it runs so much slower. All right. So check this out. Remember that video? In the video, I sent a connection request over to Ryan Rippey at KaiNexus. You remember that? Look at that. So Ryan accepted my connection request 33 minutes ago. Here's a product manager at Micro Focus, right? Forrest. So Forrest accepted an hour ago. Chris Sternberg, who was somebody who was on another one that I accepted. So those 3 people in the last little while have already accepted my connection request. So what I'm going to do is I would open Ryan Rippey. I'm going to open him in a new tab right here. Come on, Ryan Rippey. And since I've got Ryan Rippey's contact info right here, I'm going to click that. Come on. I couldn't do my job if it ran this slow when I wasn't on a conference call or a video call. So check this out. I got his personal email address, rrippy7@gmail.com. I've got Ryan's phone number, right? I've got his Twitter, which, by the way, no one direct messages him about work kinds of things on Twitter, right? You'll be the only one who does. So, you know what I'd probably do, my style is that I'm going to copy his email address. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a message right here. And I'm going to say, hey, Ryan, thanks so much for accepting my connection request, right? And you could send him a message right here. My expectation is that Ryan, since he responded so quickly, must get emails and stuff from LinkedIn and pays attention. So I could probably do it. Those people who respond to me a week from now, I might send them an email instead. But for Ryan, right, I'd pop up this if I was looking for a job. I'd essentially say, hey, Ryan, thanks so much for the connect. I'm a product manager here in Austin, Texas, just doing a little bit of networking for my next opportunity. If and when you guys are hiring, I'd welcome the opportunity to have a conversation. Thanks, Gary. Bam, right? And so what happens is that if Ryan's team is hiring, Ryan knows about it. And if Ryan's team is hiring, they're probably having a hard time hiring because every team has a hard time hiring. And because I bothered to reach out, Ryan's probably going to look at my profile. And if I'm remotely qualified, Ryan might be willing to have a conversation with me. Ryan might be the hiring manager, or Ryan might get a referral bonus, right? So I'm going to send Ryan a message and I will close Ryan's profile. And then right over here to Forrest, I would do the same thing. I'll open Forrest, I'll open Chris, and I will already have messages, short, sweet, and to the point, that I'm going to send to peers, that I'm going to send to recruiters, that I'm going to send to hiring managers. And they're all going to be along the lines of, hey, I'm just doing a little bit of networking. When the time is right, I will welcome a conversation about how I can help you, right? How I might be able to help you and your team. The notion that you send a message out that says, hey, I'm looking for a job. Are you guys hiring? You're begging someone to tell you no, or you're begging someone to send you to their job board, right? If they are. But if you instead say, hey, I'm doing a little bit of networking, Ryan, thanks so much for your connect. If and when the time is right, or welcome a conversation to see about how I might be able to help you and your team at KaiNexus, with product management types of challenges. Thanks. And your contact information, and off you go. What I'll do then is, if I'm really caring about some of these people or some of these roles or some of the hiring managers, I'm probably adding them back to my spreadsheet. I'm probably following up in a week or a week and a half. I'm probably sending them an email message next time. But I just began a massive campaign of communication with all of these people. And if I'm looking for a job, my messaging campaign is very much along the lines of, hey, I'm just doing a little bit of networking. When the time is right, I would welcome a conversation to see whether I might be able to help you and your team, create product management success. Thanks, Gary. Variations on that theme. So if you're out there looking for a job, you feel needy. So instead of going to market looking for a job, go look for people you can help and tell them that you're looking for ways that you can help them, right? The reason why I know that is because when I go to market as a recruiter, and I say, hey, are you looking for a job? The answer is no. If I go to market, say, hey, when the time is right, I'd welcome an opportunity to see whether or not what we're working on over here at Revionics might be interesting to you and might help you advance your career. Well, response rate's about 4 times higher when I go to market like that. If I go to market trying to fill a job, it doesn't work so well. If I go to market, so to speak, and reach out to people and legitimately try to help them with their career, response is so much higher, right? It's the same exact thing, just flipped, right? So you want to send the follow-up message to people you've connected with. You can send it through LinkedIn, you can send it through email. And usually I'll send about 3 messages to most people. And the last message that I send usually says something along the lines of, hey, I don't want to be a bother, so this is the last message that I'm going to send. A lot of times I get a lot of response to that. People say, I'm so sorry, I meant to get back to you. I was just been busy. But me prompting them, telling them that's the last message I'm going to send. It's a classic gambit. It's called the takeaway close. People want what they can't have. And so, that one, if somebody has any interest at all, you'll get the response on that one. Final thing I've got to say, and then we can answer, happy to answer some questions or whatever. And I hope this was helpful to you, which is when you see a job that is posted online, right? In fact, let's go do that right now. I'm going to run a Google search. And if you haven't checked out Google's job search engine, it's way better than Indeed's. I mean, who scours the web better? The ones you see on Indeed are ones people paid to post. Most companies don't pay to post anything. Yeah, they show you some other things, but Google, you can't pay them to post stuff. They scrape everything. And Austin. So just to stay in the same vein, product manager jobs in Austin. Product manager jobs. All right. So you see this blue banner. When you click that blue banner, it brings up Google's job search engine. And so what I would do is that Experis, Volt, those are all recruiting firms. Amazon's too big. Retail Me Not. So here's a product manager job at Retail Me Not. If I saw this job, right? Apply on salary.com, no. Apply on Leverett, no. Built in Austin, no. Don't apply any of these ways. Go straight to Retail Me Not and apply. But more important is come right here, click this thing, search for, come on, search for people. Come on. There we go. Click all filters. And what I want to do is the company was Retailing Me Not. Retailing Me Not right there. And then I'm going to go right down here and I'm going to say product. And I'm going to click apply. And product at retail, senior director of product and risk. Andy McHale is the hiring manager right there. There he is. Or Nick, VP of product and operations, right? One of those, or director of product. So I'm going to send connection requests to all of these people. Once one of them connects with me, I'm going to send them a follow-up message and see what their email address is. If it's a Retail Me Not email address, I know what everybody's email address is. And to these leaders, I'll send a message over, hey, Nick, doing a little bit of networking. I'm a product manager here in Austin, Texas. I help solve problems such as this one, that one, and the other one that I pulled out of the job description. When the time's right, I'd welcome a conversation to see how I might be able to help you and your product team be wildly successful. Thanks, Gary. Bam. And so what's happening is that if they have a product manager job and it's open out here and it's posted out here on Google's job search things, then somebody's sweating bullets. They're having trouble hiring somebody. They wish that it could happen. And the truth is, I'll get
Was it my connection?
Hi. Gary went away.
I know he was having internet problems, and I think I was too, but maybe he'll log back on.
Joined a few minutes late. Is he going? Is there a handout?
He's coming back.
Okay.
And check the chat box. There's a link to the document that he's been using. Did that just get you? Did you see it?
that was Zoom's way of telling me that I talk too much.
Oh, I just posted it twice in the chat box.
All right. Hey, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Well, that's about all I have to say about that. I hope this was helpful to everyone to kind of see a different perspective on things and how to go about prospecting for your own job and go way beyond, responding to open jobs, and go get ahead of the game, go get to the front of the line, and go find people to talk to before the job is ever even posted anywhere. That's the way to do it, quite frankly.
Great. Gary, can you hear me in and out of the... Just hang with us just 1 minute. Gary's just rejoining us. This is crazy. Gary, are you there?
Yeah. I'm going to turn off my video. Maybe that's a problem. So sorry about that. I'm going to get a new computer today.
So it says that Gary is joining us. So did everyone get the link in the chat box? Let's make sure. Gary, you're back?
Yes, I am back.
Yay, you're back. Excellent. All right. So I pointed everybody to the link in the chat box, Gary. And so that's the way that they can access the things that you've been showing us, correct?
Yes.
The video?
Yep. Yep.
Good,
All those little videos in that document. Yep.
Excellent. And are there questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions.
Theresa and Gary, thank you very much. It's good information.
You're welcome.